But I want to just sort of spring off the back of what Gillian said there. I mean, the magic of Blackpool so cannot be underestimated. The Illuminations is something that is just unbelievably special. One of the risks is that when you live in Blackpool, when you work in Blackpool, you tend to take it for granted. We do wherever we are. Wherever we are, what's at the end of our nose doesn't feel anything like as special as what's on the other side of the world. Now, I come from this with a very unique perspective, because I spend so much time traveling now, so much time filming in Australia, so much time in Asia, in China, and it is absolutely weird the way that if you're talking to the guys in Sydney that organise the Vivid Light Show, you talk to the guys in Asia, you talk to the guys in Macau, and you say Blackpool, they get unbelievably excited, because as far as they're concerned, we are the brand. Blackpool Illuminations is the yardstick that they measure themselves against historically, because as Gillian says, it's over 100 years old. It is 100 years of iconic experience, and it's just the way that it actually affects how we see the environment around us. You know, this is something that happens the exact moment where everything else in the country seems to be going dark. And I've always been slightly fascinated by the link between this as a festival of light and the festivals of light that happen in religions all over the world. Diwali, Samhain, Day of the Dead, Halloween, these are all moments where the lengthening nights are illuminated in this very kind of celebratory way. There is something much, much deeper to Blackpool that I believe we should treat with a lot more respect. But the big thing is, and you know, it is inescapable, as Gillian says, that actually for innovation, for newness, for excitement, we have to rely on local business involvement, or else it will just be the same offer year after year. Now, having said that, it's also very important, as far as I'm concerned, that we do ensure that we respect Blackpool's heritage and history. I believe that the people that come here year after year love seeing things that they've seen before. They love the fact that they can take a picture in front of a tableau, and that same picture is in their photograph album, but with their parents, with their grandparents, with their great-grandparents. That is an amazing thing to actually have as part of your kind of leisure makeup. But also, this is the 21st century. Also, we are living in a world that is awash with light festivals. We have to put Blackpool back on the map. We actually have to make Blackpool top of the heap again. You know, we are the original, but it's time we started being the best again. And this is why this year is so incredibly exciting. There's a big, big difference about this year's press launch, which is that I've got notes. Because there's so much going on, I have got notes to make sure that we don't leave anything out. What I love is the fact that we have actually, over the past few years, developed some incredibly close relationships with local businesses like Beaverbrook's, the Beach House, Best West Carlton Hotel, Cubby's the Elgin Hotel, we've got Escape Rooms, Genting Casino, Hounshill, all of whom are coming back in as supporters. And one of the nice things, as you can see, is that we work very closely with them at Lightworks. Big round of applause for the Lightworks team standing over there, by the way. Looking so incredibly glamorous. All of them dressed in black apart from me. But working very closely with sponsorship businesses to ensure that their sponsorship message, their brand message, is integrated seamlessly into the illumination. So it actually becomes a creative statement in its own right, rather than a very clunky endorsement. And you can see this in the way that we're celebrating 100 years of Beaverbrook's over there, and the way that we're using this now with the new festoon system. One of the really exciting, the first exciting thing that's happening this year is the fact that technology has caught up with us. Finally, we are now able to start using LED and digital technology to create the kind of effects that we have always wanted to do. And when you look at this new festoon system, which is basically it's a reincarnation of good old-fashioned neon, it means that we can absolutely change the way that Blackpool looks in a relatively subtle way. But nonetheless, that is a very, very exciting product, which is something you won't see anywhere else. So on to the other innovations. I mean, you know, one of the loveliest things is that we now have an opportunity to reincarnate the arches, which have been part of I think one of the most iconic experiences on the Blackpool roadways. And our friends at Northern Rail have come on board to sponsor what's going to be a very exciting light corridor. We have, you know, the rolling film behind me will show you a computer generation of what it's going to be like. But what we're trying to do this year is to reincarnate that great sense that you used to have in Blackpool of these corridors of illumination. You know, when you used to go down, there was a whole length of sort of the same kind of characters, or it was trees, or it was fairies, or it was showgirls, whatever. But we're doing that now in a much more contemporary way, using pure coloured light. And I think that the Northern Arches are going to be an incredibly important part of this new attitude to Blackpool that I believe is really going to start putting Blackpool on the map. The other big news that we have this year is the launch, the reincarnation of the Theatre d'Amour, which was an illumination that I created, I think it was 2011, which is a very kind of charming Victorian, you know, toy theatre kind of idea. But our friends at Four Walls are now stepping in to turn that into the Theatre of Lights. It's going to be totally reimagined as something that's about contemporary technology and also something that uses their technology. It becomes an amazing showpiece for you know, what they can actually achieve. And it will feel, I think, very fresh, very new, but also rekindles our commitment to making the illuminations more of a pedestrian experience. This is the big goal, is to get people out of their cars and to get people to engage with the town as they actually appreciate the illuminations. To do that, we have to have a series of almost Las Vegas style attractions. You know, there we are the oldest name in the business, but that doesn't mean we can't be sexy. You know, we can take things that work from other areas like Las Vegas. So what I want to do very quickly is I want to talk to some of the sponsors that we have, and I'd like to call Simon up here from Four Walls and just have a little chat about how special Blackpool is and what we've got to look forward to from the Theatre of Light. Big round of applause for Simon. Simon Stewart.
Absolutely.
So how does it feel to be in the showbiz spotlight, Simon?
First saw the Illuminations. It was a life-changing experience for me those days. Little did I know that 20 years further on, I would be involved in the entertainment industry and indeed showbiz, and where it really started. So to be playing an active part of this year, absolutely fabulous.
I mean, it's just so wonderful to have you on board, because I think also, you know, and as you say, it's something that's kind of hardwired into, you know, so many people. The Blackpool Illuminations is such a brand, such an icon. But we've got to get that sense of new enthusiasm back into it. And for you that's been in the entertainment industry for probably, oh, look at the age of you. It can't be more than 10 or 12 years. Exactly. Well, you're a sponsor, of course I'm kind. Can I just say you look amazing? You know, incredible.
You're not too bad.
Well, there we are, yeah. Maybe I'll come and sting you for a bit more money later. But actually, this is the whole point, is that, you know, what the illumination should never be is just something that happens in a vacuum. It has to have not just money coming in, but also ideas coming in. It also has to have a new creative approach and an ability to facilitate. And this is why companies like Simon's are going to be so important for what we need the illuminations to be in the future. So thank you very much indeed. Let's give you another round of applause. I'd also like to bring up Chris Jackson, who's the Regional Director of Northern, to say a few words, because without Northern, I think, again, this is what's so exciting about this year, is that we are attracting big names now into the illuminations. It has been wonderful to have the local support of our friends, you know, like Brooks, like you lot. You know, it's been lovely to have all of that as you know, to count on. But now we've got big names coming in. It shows that we are national. It shows that we are international. So Chris, can I ask you up here? And we'll give you another big round of applause. We need to make a big fuss of our sponsors.
Okay, morning everyone. Thank you very much for having us here. I'm very, very proud to be here today representing Northern as one of the principal sponsors of the Illuminations. I'm very, very proud to be here indeed. And I think a time to reflect as well. We know that as an industry, as Northern, Blackpool suffered some disappointments when it came to rail service last year, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to work very, very closely with Visit Blackpool as part of this iconic showcase, which of course is the Blackpool Illuminations. We're working with Visit Blackpool as well to encourage more people to come to Blackpool by train and sample our new product, which I'll talk about shortly. What better way to attract people to Blackpool than to come to see the Illuminations by train? One of the other things that I'd just like to mention is it's not just the Illuminations that's exciting. It's you know, for Northern, we're launching our brand new fleet of trains. They're out and about on the network now from the 1st of July, but Blackpool will see a brand new fleet of trains which will transform travel for users coming in and out of Blackpool from later on this year. So they are routes like Blackpool to Liverpool, Blackpool to Manchester and Blackpool to York. And for those of you who haven't experienced the new trains, I'd urge you to do so because you will be blown away by them. Fully air conditioned throughout, Wi-Fi, fully accessible. They are state of the art. They're absolutely fantastic. And what better way to bring people to Blackpool to see the Illuminations on our brand new fleet of trains, which represents a £500 million investment to transform travel in the north. And just one other thing that's on top of £50 million that we're putting in to improve our stations portfolio, which you can see in all stations across Blackpool and the Fylde, which really will transform travel for people across the north. So once again, very, very proud to be part of the, to be associated with the Illuminations, and thank you very much for having us today. And I wish you the best of luck with the execution. I'm conscious, having been up in the cherry picker earlier, it's a massive undertaking, so I wish you all the very best of luck in the execution and for a successful event. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Chris. And of course, I mean, that's actually a very important point, that, you know, with our vision of a pedestrian light festival, obviously linking up with the trains is very important. I sometimes get asked by slightly cheeky journalists whether it's not time that I had my own helicopter. I think I'm going to go for my own train carriage, if that's all right, Chris. Maybe a fountain of gin and tonic. A lot of plush. You know, I can see it working out. Great fan of the train. Always very much enjoy it. So, I mean, an iconic, absolutely iconic light festival. A huge brand name in terms of entertainment. And one of the really special things about this year is that I've been speaking a lot about technology, I've been speaking a lot about, you know, the newness, about the future, but actually at the heart of Blackpool is still that sense of heritage. And one of the big launches that we've got this year is the introduction of an icon, of an absolute paradigm of everything that is soft and fluffy and cozy, I think. You can see where I'm going now, can't you? There's a little clue over there. Yes, we are very, very, very pleased to announce that Sooty is coming home. Having been born in Blackpool, Sooty is now back for the Illuminations. And I'd like to invite Sooty and Richard to come up and say a few words, if that's all right. There we are.
I thought Laurence was building up to introduce me then. I was quite disappointed. I know I'm a bit fluffy. I just think, and obviously I'm the host of the Sooty Show on the telly and on stage, which is why I'm here today, but just listening to you speak and Laurence and everybody, it just really brought back to me my childhood memories of coming to Blackpool. My parents didn't got many holidays, but we never missed the Illuminations. And I remember as a little boy with my brother who was younger in the car getting more and more excited as we went up the motorway, more and more excited, and when the tower comes into view, getting hyper excited. And a little bit of trivia I just remembered, I hadn't remembered it for years, is that we won 50 quid from the Reader's Digest because my brother told his teachers when he got back on, and he was only little, when he got back to school on Monday, that he'd spent the weekend with seeing hallucinations. So, what's the matter with your child? No, we went to the Illuminations. We won 50 quid, the Reader's Digest. But I digress. So, as Laurence touched on, the Sooty Show was born in Blackpool. I'm sure you all know the story. I'm going to recap it really quickly. But Harry Corbett, the creator of the Sooty Show, was on holiday here with his family. It was a rainy day in July, and he had nothing better to do than to kill some time on the pier, and he stumbled across a joke shop, and looking back at him in the window was a teddy bear for 7 and 6. They couldn't afford it, he debated about buying it, he took his wife back to look at it in the window, and eventually they agreed to buy it for the children that were otherwise bored on this rainy day, and then Harry introduced it into his magic act, he won a local talent competition, and the rest is history. So Sooty belongs in Blackpool. This is his home. We talk about it as his home on the television and in interviews. It's something that we acknowledge and are very proud of. And it was wonderful for me. I took over presenting the show 20 years ago when Matthew retired, and 10 years ago I purchased with my brother all the rights to the Sooty show. So I produced the show for ITV and write it and all that stuff now, as well as present it. So it was a thrill when, some years back now, I forget how many years ago it was, Richard, but probably eight years ago, Richard contacted me and said we'd love to do something at Blackpool in the Illuminations, and we created a tableau which has run for many years up at the north end. And do you know what? And you're so right, Laurence. You know, you talk about exhibitions that people love and remember. The spaceman on that roundabout for me was always the big thing that people love to see again and again, and those sort of things. Yeah. So, and here we are with Sooty, and I know from my experience presenting the show that this is an iconic character that both grandchildren, little kids watch the TV show now, and their grandparents watch. So here, similar to the Illuminations, is a character that everybody knows. So we did this tableau, which Richard very kindly and the team put together some years ago, and that was, successful. And then we developed that every year. We sort of reinvented it a little bit. And then last year, we did that wonderful projection. If any of you didn't see it, they're going to run it again. It's on the tower, which was incredible to watch, incredible. So this year, we thought, how could we up the game for Sooty? And my memories went back to me as a kid in the car with my little brother, and going down, as we talked about, the arches and the iconic lampposts, as I would call them, with all those stars and flowers and children's characters on them. So it seemed only right that we should sponsor and come to the party this year, because you've been so good to Sooty. Blackpool, the Illuminations has been great to Sooty, and I personally have a great affection for the Illuminations. And I'm thrilled at the very first one, the first time I've seen it this morning, the Lifelike Sooty, which will have a sweep and a sue. And I'm just so thrilled at this time that we can be part of something. I never thought as a little kid, looking through the window, and marvelling and never growing tired of these Illuminations. Every year wanting to come back. I never dreamed that one year I'd be standing in front of you as a sponsor, and that these wonderful characters that I love and work with and cherish would be so a new part of this wonderful exhibition, and I'm just thrilled. So less of me waffling. Do you want to meet him? It's the only reason I'm here, isn't it, really? You don't mind about that. You just want to see it. There he is. Yeah, it's a lovely... And for those of you that don't know, it was an iconic year for Sooty last year. He was 70 years old. It was 70 years since Harry discovered him on the pier at Blackpool. And by...
I didn't realise it was the same age.
You never... Really, Laurence? Don't be silly. Stop it. It's, 70. Matthew Corbett is 70 as well. He's still a great pal. Should we get him out? Will you knock on the top of the box, Laurence, and do this? Yeah, because he'll come out, and you know what? I know you're just going to scream and cheer with applause. Come on, Sooty. Here he is, everybody! What's that? Why aren't they screaming and cheering with applause? It's because they're stunned that you're here, but any minute now they'll do it! Yay! There we are. What's that? Very excited to be at the Illuminations. And you're so excited, what's that? A little present for Laurence. Oh, Sooty, that's very good. Is it your magic one? No, don't be a naughty boy, Sooty. No, don't be a... No, stop that. You knew that was going to happen, didn't you?
That was good.
Yeah. It was bleach, actually, but no, Right. So we're thrilled to be here. Sweep and Sue are going to be around later if anyone want a picture. Just to say, thanks for letting us be a part of this. We're a tiny part of it. We're absolutely thrilled. And we'll just say, we'll sign off as we always do with a bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it.
I'm just stunned. I never thought I'd be squirted by a showbiz icon. I'm never going to watch this face again. Thank you very much for that, Sooty. But no, and just so back to the way that the Illuminations is so special. Like I said earlier, there is something so unbelievably magical about that experience of coloured light in the darkness. To be in Blackwall, to be there with a warm packet of chips, to be there on a dark night, there's water on the pavements, it's a sort of light drizzle, and you've got the light being reflected onto it. It is something that you actually never ever forget. It gets into your psyche, as far as I'm concerned. And one of the big innovations that has been pursued forward is the idea of actually giving that official festival status. And the Lightworks Festival has now become something that I think everyone sees as the the celebratory moment of the Illuminations. The Illuminations is something that we all enjoy, that is static, that is dependable, that is there, that is lighting up the darkness. But the festival brings this sense of the energy and excitement of that particular time of year becoming full of hope, becoming full of light. So to hear what's going to be happening for the festival for this year, I'm going to call on Phil Holmes for an update on Festival 2019. Phil.
It's not that easy to follow something, I'll give it a good go. So the Lightworks Festival returns this year. This is our 4th year. We started in 2016 and we're very pleased to win the large event of the year, the Lancashire Tourism Awards. So we've kind of got a lot to live up to, but we've got some amazing things lined up this year. The festival is going to take place over 3 weeks from the 11th of October, starting with the tower projections, kindly sponsored by Northern Rail, thank you very much. They are the most amazing 3D projections that you could ever wish to see on obviously the iconic Blackpool Tower. So if you haven't seen them, do get them and join us. There's 5 different shows, and this year we will be publishing the exact times that you can see the projections. So that's a first for this year. We are also, again this year, partnering back with Blackpool Football Club Community Trust. We started some work with them last year on year 2 primary schools where we do glow-in-the-dark football. And we invite 30 schools to come along. We dim all the lights. The kids wear day-glow vests and headbands and then kick a ball about. And then each team that wins goes forward to a final that this year is going to be held in the Tower Circus, which for the kids is amazing that they can do this in the Tower Circus as opposed to just a football pitch. So 30 schools this year we're hoping for, so that's a great partnership with them. We started Illuminations, which is dressing dogs in lights, which is not the most easiest of things to do, quite challenging. But that started in 2016. These are dogs that we dress in coats and then light up. So you've seen some of them on the videos, I hope. This year we're in partnership with Hounds Hill. Debs, thank you very much. So we are running 2 days workshops, hoping to dress 80 dogs. Don't know if Debs knows what she's let herself in for. And then we kind of have a final competition where we vote for the best dressed dog. So that's great. We're doing an art trail again at key locations in the town, and 2 iconic buildings in the town, the Winter Gardens and the Tower Ballroom, will be hosting 2 new works. One of them is Gaia by Luke Duran. It's an interpretation of the globe. That will be in the Tower Ballroom on the 14th, and we're doing a special event on the 17th, Dancing Around the World, where people can join us in the Tower Ballroom. They dance to the organist, there's performance from the circus, there's also local dance schools. It's a wonderful experience. And then a new work that we're incorporating with an artist that worked on the Lightworks Festival before, Alex Rinsler, who's making a new work called Sun, in partnership with Robert Walsh from UCLAM. It's a new work, it's got detailed NASA imagery, 360-degree projection from the inside, with a lot of engagements with schools on environmental issues and how the sun works and different things. It's going to be a world first for us, which would be amazing. We're doing an event called Late at the Library. We close the library, dim all the lights, we open again, and we invite children to come along. We do themed reading, loads of magic, lots of different things. We did it last year, it's extremely successful, and we're extending that this year, so that's great. There's a new exhibition that we're doing called Wavefield. We're bringing 8 giant seesaws from Montreal in Canada. They light up, and when people Sat on the seesaws, they go up and down and make strange noises and light up in different colours, and they will all be in St John's Square. That's in partnership with Left Coast. They will be available from the 23rd until the 26th of October. The Carnival of the Lights is where we do the illuminated tram parade, the only time in the year where all the 3 illuminated heritage trams set off at the same time. They leave the Pleasure Beach. At Central Pier they stop, and this year they're joined by the Carnival Network from Birmingham with 15-foot headdresses, all lit up. They will go along the promenade. When we get to the comedy carpet, there's a big performance from the Steel Band, Caribbean performers, photographic opportunities, so on. And then we close the festival on Saturday with Pyronics, who are Belgian fire performers that came to the festival last year. Everybody was asking to bring them back, so we've managed to bring them back again this year. They will close the festival on the comedy carpet. Fireworks, pyros, that's what we do, light and fire. I hope that wasn't too brief. You've all got the press release. If anybody wants to know anything else, I'll be about. Please give me a shout. Thank you.
I just love, you know, the list from Lightworks. Always sounds faintly improbable, doesn't it? Light up dogs, giant seesaws, you know, and then Belgian pyromaniacs, just to set it all off. So, I mean, you know, as you can see, I mean, you're now onto a Dead Sea Scroll of information. All of this that's happening in 2019. But we haven't actually hit the headline yet. We haven't actually hit the point where I get to tell you probably the biggest news. It was great that we've got so much support from everybody. Great that we've got Sooty, great that we've got Four Walls, we've got Northern Rail, we've got everyone back again at Hounds Hill. But actually, the big difference to 2019 is the fact that we are launching a competition, an entirely open competition available to absolutely anyone who feels that they can do something unbelievably extraordinary with the Illuminations. We're taking a great big chunk out of the central section of the Illuminations leading up to the comedy carpet. So this is absolutely the iconic spot. This is the spot where you see the tower, you see the headland, you see the pier, you see the beach. This is the one that says Black. And we want anybody to get in touch with an idea of what to do with that. We've got incredibly important, very, very energetic support from the council. We've got a £100,000 budget for the successful entry to use. So this is something that can really, really set the town alight. And my brief is for everyone who's entering to just make it as blue sky as possible. This is, if you like, you know, the Illuminations Got Talent. This is the Illuminations X Factor. This is open to you if you are an architect, a designer, or if you are just you. What I feel is that there's someone up there that can do something with the Illuminations that we have never tried before. And part of the brief that I've really, you know, put in there is this idea of don't just think about the roadway. You know, we are giving you a chunk of Blackpool. I want you to look at that chunk of Blackpool. That could be the beach. That could be the sea. That could be the road. That could be the buildings. I want something that nobody has ever tried in Blackpool before as a way of absolutely galvanizing everyone to see the Illuminations again as world leading. We need the kind of innovation and creativity back in the Illuminations on that kind of scale to prove that we are the original, and indeed we are the best. The details of the competition will be published simultaneously. So if anybody has got an idea of something that they have wanted to try, please now start thinking about how it can work. If the winning bid comes from a company, then fine. If the company themselves want to facilitate, want to supply, fine. If it comes from an individual, then they have the opportunity to work with Lightworks, who would then facilitate it and would deliver it on their behalf. So there's nothing holding you back, nothing holding anyone back from doing something that Blackpool has never seen before. And of course, that is absolutely the secret of Blackpool. Blackpool has always been about doing something that nobody has seen before. We need to bring that innovation back into the Illuminations. So as you can see, 2019 is just about a 15-page press release. We have never had so much newness, so much exciting stuff to be able to say. But what's so lovely is that alongside the innovation, alongside these wonderful new sponsors, we've also got our old friends who are continuing to support us, continuing to see us as viable and valuable for their businesses. And we've got Sooty, and you were there when Sooty squirted. So thank you so much for turning up. It's been wonderful to have such a great turn up as well. Obviously, everyone is still available for interviews if you feel you haven't got the right kind of information. And then there is the slight downside of the fact that we are rather anticipating you're all going to love to go up in my cherry picker, aren't you? Oh yes, I can see you all thinking if only I'd dressed accordingly. But it's rather a nice experience actually to see what it is like for the Illuminations team to make the Illuminations work. And let me say, it does go quite high, but it's nothing like as scary as it being on the prom in a high wind, if you're wearing a large skirt. So thank you very much indeed. As I say, you know, 2019, wow, what a year. But if you think this has been amazing, just wait until we unveil the competition winner and the winning entry this time next year, because the winning entry will be the absolute jewel in the crown of Switch On 2020, which is going to be a bit of a nexus year for Blackwall anyways, isn't it, Gillian? We've got our eyes on 2020. Yes. So thank you very much indeed, and welcome to the Illuminations 2019.